And welcome in to the League Down Under. It's the podcast that takes you inside the inner sanctum of our Dynasty League and it asks the question, which team are you going to side with? I'm your host Ben, joined as always by my two co-hosts Keeney and Hod. Hey, travelling boys.
Travelling well, my man. Look, last week was good to get your thoughts of and your points of view on the league, boys. But it's time for some contenders now. No offence, Hod, but we're ready for some real contenders and the real deal of this league in 2026. How you going, mate?
Very good, boys. Say you're from Melbourne without saying you're from Melbourne. The Kathmandu is on.
Fresh.
And this is the time we've been building towards, boys. It's the pointy end. It's the contenders. The real big dogs of the league. And I'm looking forward to dissecting this team tonight.
Did you know it's a month until the first game of the year? It is the old Hall of Fame game, but 1 month, 6th of August. So 1 month today.
Juicy.
Very exciting.
So doesn't that mean it's 2 months till week 1 in Melbourne?
That's
9
right.
weeks.
Yep, 9 weeks away. And boy, that's going to be an exciting one to be rolling in. It's kickoff, it's about 10 a.m. our time or something of that to that effect. So
Yep.
Tailgating's at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Great booking.
It's going to be large.
And we're warmed up. We've been watching the World Cup at 4.
Yep.
5 a.m.
Conditioned.
We're ready to go.
Ready to go, and so is the first contender to kick us off. And we've got a guy who is a man of few words, but when he speaks, people listen. And I think there's no better way to introduce the leader of this fearless GM with this pump-up tune.
Great cash, Norman. I don't shine shoes. I don't tape ankles. I don't cut checks. Great cash, Norman. Everybody, one clap. One clap. One clap. One clap.
And the GM of the Straight Cash Homies himself has joined us on the pod. Welcome to the pod, Tim McMahon. How are you travelling, my man?
Oh, boys, what a song.
Yeah,
What a song.
I thought that would get you up and about.
YouTube.
I was up and about. I was bopping over here, so it was good.
So, people who don't know, Straight Cash Homie, give us the origin.
Obviously, I'm a Vikings fan, so that is a Randy Moss line that he had. I think it was after he got fined for
Was it
mooning the Green Bay
Yeah.
in the Green Bay game.
He's the best.
Yeah, so there's actually a back end to that story, pun intended, Todd. That every time we went and played Green Bay, apparently we'd catch a bus in, and all the Green Bay supporters would moon the Viking supporters' bus.
Classic.
And then he
cheeseheads.
goes, "Fuck this!" When as soon as he caught a touchdown in Lambeau, he decided to moon the Packers faithful.
It's the best.
Well, I reckon this great man that's joined us has already hit his quota for words of what we thought we'd get out of him, and he's got jokes too.
Do you know what I like, boys, as well? If you're not watching on the YouTube, it's our first guest of the year that's actually watching TV whilst the pod's on. It's
a bit of mood
great
lighting.
achievement. What's
Well-
on, mate? What are you watching in the background there?
I was actually watching Big Brody's boy Lordo talking about how good the Bombers are doing. So it was a short watch.
He's forward thinking to when we broadcast this great show live, and he'd be able to watch himself straight through the TV.
Well, it's the first time I've been up this late in a long time, so I've never actually watched footy classified.
Making the most.
What is it with our league members who jump online on their phones complaining about the late times? Because there's only one other that we've done who we could see up his schnoz, and he was also complaining. But you've got a legitimate excuse. You get up at all hours of the morning for your profession, so that's fair enough.
It was just an observation.
And it's a much nicer snoz to look up to.
It is.
In fairness.
Well, there's a bit of variety. You're at least moving the phone. We just got almost the ceiling for the entire time.
No, we got the ceiling at one point.
Yeah, I was turning off the notifications and looking at the battery level.
Yeah.
What are you resting your phone on there, just out of interest?
It's a bit exciting.
Waterbed at the moment, it seems like.
Hey, speaking of observations, give us some feedback on the pods that you've listened to so far. Have there been any guests that have stood out to you?
Yeah, the pod's been good so far. It's a bit predictable. Like, you get Jake on there just talking about himself. obviously. Jimmy talking about Dim Sims. I thought Manny was good. It was good that you boys nearly got a week off when he was there because he just spoke the whole time. But that was good.
Yeah, we were going to ask you your views on Jake and just how his general take on just the McMahon boys in general.
As I said, he's pretty predictable. Just runs with the same shit, and then he just does what he does best and just speaks about himself.
Any Keeney, you want to run with the next question there that you teed up for with the Instagram page?
No, I didn't tee that up. I was just thinking about Jake and your team. I think there's going to be a bit of maybe a rivalry there between both of you because you're both in the contention. But yeah, there was something to go to here, Ben, which I probably should have. But what about we're trying to
good thing it's a thinking medium and not a speaking medium on a podcast.
Sometimes you just need to give the response the air that it requires, but probably not in that instance. But we want to talk about your Insta page, and not even your Straight Cash Homies one, just your personal one. Is there any danger of just putting a post up at some point, mate?
Yeah, not really. I think I was pretty late to get on Insta, and might have had a post, maybe two in my life. I reckon I got it when I was in Europe. I did one post and then just put it away.
And it would have been of Garrick's, no doubt, or something along those lines. Perhaps we were saying off air that you might be a strike of genius here, Timos. If you convert your Insta page to your Straight Cash Homies Insta page, you might lead the followers straight off the bat. Because you may as well anyway. You don't post on your normal. You've got no viewership there. So why not just start recruiting?
Love that.
Yeah, I was thinking about hitting up Randy Moss, see if he wanted to do a joint account. We'll see how we go.
Lucky you added account there.
You can have a join if you want.
Why don't we, I think it's fitting, whilst we've got the two members of this blockbuster trade of the off-season. I mean, it's one that's shaped this podcast, really, and for what's to come, because it's a real contender trade, and we loved it. And who better to have than Ben and Tim talk us through? But just to recap it for the audience here, Ben has received... Actually, I'll go the other way around. Timos here has received Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and a 28 fourth for Isaiah Likely, a 27 third, a 28 first, and a 29 first and second. These are all Tim's picks, so we would expect them to be late over the next 3 seasons. But it's a really interesting trade, so without my thoughts, jump in. Ben, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I'm just going to, for anyone watching on YouTube, I'll quickly pop it up on the screen too.
Get the daddy.
On Dynasty Daddy, go-to friends. So yeah, this obviously was a trade where Timos was inquiring about Christian McCaffrey it was Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry. But I think, like I mentioned on the pod, mate, that when I said what about both, then you presented pretty much this trade in its entirety, and it really was just a bit of discussion back and forth about potential players or picks, but we kind of, I think where it started is where it landed in the end. How did it play out from your end?
Yeah, well, when you go back to our first year, I sort of did a trade that I'll probably touch on later, that I thought, I can't remember what I thought actually. Where was it going with that bad boy?
It's like Keeney last week.
Sorry, yeah, go again. After the first year, I think I got knocked out of the finals by playing Jake, and I was really light at running back, so I did a trade for Christian McCaffrey, and I think it put me back a couple of years, so I decided to try the same thing again. I reckon this trade probably will put me back a couple of years, but it makes it fun and exciting for at least the first couple of weeks of the season for me.
And the 2028 fourth, was that the piece that got it over the line in the end? Bit rich coming
This
from
is
me,
a
I suppose.
request from Benjamin, I think. I'm just looking at the trade. Pretty sure, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, we just added the fourth and the third? Was that the
Yeah,
only
I
trade
think so.
difference we did?
Yeah, I think I wanted the third pick thrown in, and then you wanted something back in return, so we did a little year and round swap in the end.
It's fair to say that you've... I don't know if you've owned McCaffrey for the longest tenure, but you've certainly acquired him the most in the league. He's obviously the number one weapon in fantasy football when he has a season like he did last year. You're obviously keen to get him. You acquired him for the chip, and hopefully it goes better than it did last time. But what are you expecting from him this year, following such a big year last year?
I think he's the only good running back in their offense, which is great. Obviously, I love having a piece of Shanahan's offense in the run game and the pass game, so he's obviously a big weapon. And the reason I went for him and Henry, really, there wasn't a lot of people selling running backs. I've been pretty short for running backs. I figured if I didn't make a move here, I'd be in a bit of trouble. Also, I think with our division being pretty stacked, if I don't score a lot of points early, I can't just leave it and hope to get in, which is probably what happened to me last year. I probably snoozed for 6 or 7 weeks in the middle of the season, and then realised that I think I reached out to Keeney and said, "Hey, am I going to actually make finals here?" And he's like, "You might want to start scoring a bit more," because I think I was only eligible for points. Or
Yeah.
so I missed out there, and
Scoot just pipped you on, isn't that right?
I think so. I think I was probably 85 points behind Scoot with 2 rounds left, and that's when I reached out to Keeney. And I actually got pretty close, but
Yeah.
Just
not
left
close
it
enough.
a little late, and then he went on to win it. So that's
Was
been
that
part of the thinking.
Was that the moment when you two did that trade? Did Keeney just tell you, yeah, you need a few points? Here you go. Here's a trade with Hampton and Harvey. Is that right, isn't it?
No, I think we did that before the season started.
Was that earlier on? Reason I brought it up though, if RJ Harvey, he had 12 touchdowns as a rookie, but I reckon it's the coolest the fantasy market has been on a player who's had 12 touchdowns in a rookie year. There is a lot of speculation with the acquisition of Jonah Coleman. J.K. Dobbins obviously is great when he's going, but injury history seems to get in his way. If RJ Harvey had a promising season and Amari and Hampton didn't get injured, would you be looking at this sort of deal?
Yeah, I think so. Just because I haven't really had depth. The only other running back I had who gets snaps is Stevenson, and he's 2 or 3 fumbles away from just being put on the bench. So, yeah, I've always been pretty light there. And, yeah, going around the league, there wasn't a lot of available running backs. So I figured with McCaffrey and Henry, if I get them both, I just need them to one of them hit or take turns in being injured or fucking whatever they're doing. Just because obviously they're very old, they might like go on little holidays or something, which is fine. And then just come back and be fresh.
Well, it is the challenge too when you're contending, and most rebuilding teams set themselves up in that window of not really needing elite running backs. So it is hard to find running backs outside of other contenders. So I think Ben was the perfect probably trade partner. Sorry, I got a glimpse of something then.
Well, if you are watching on YouTube, apologies if you get dizzy because the phone's fallen over and being propped up.
I assume there probably might have been another couple of trade partners you could have looked at, but then you're thinking it's probably either the DFF who's not selling Brees Hall for anything, and Ben just made the most sense at the end of the day. I think that's probably what it comes down to.
I think it was that simple. If you want to go into the draft, obviously I had the pick 107
Yeah,
in
let's
the
go
rookie
into it.
draft this year, and I was pretty high on Price. I skipped ahead here, Hod, or are you just up and about?
No, great.
No, we will dive straight into the draft as the first point of call about your team. But before we do, I just want to go to Ramondre there. And the reason I do is because sneaky good last year. I know he's got the fumble issues, but he was very, very productive on a per carry basis on what is now a really high powered offense. It's one you want a piece of. And the reason I want to bring it up is because Keeney, you're the owner of Henderson sitting behind him, who is a very highly ranked running back, which is really on a lot of promise, and that short spurt he had during last season. Timos, are you worried about Stevenson? Like, do you view him as a really solid depth piece, or are you worried about Henderson coming after him this year?
I think Stevenson is what he is. Like, he's a reliable guy, but he's always going to have a better back in his backfield, more explosive, which is very scary. So that, and the fact that he has fumbling issues, like, he's a good fourth or fifth back in your dynasty team. You probably don't want him in your starting position, which he has been for a couple of years for me, which is why I haven't done too well.
But is more importantly now you're number 5, which is a great point. I liken this to Montgomery and Gibbs. I think it's a pretty similar timeline. Stevenson's very productive, and Henderson, he could be anything. It's a lot of promise. How are you feeling about that one before we get back into Tim's team?
Yeah, I was going to say, ironically, I feel similar but on the opposite end of it, because I just think because Ramondre is so solid, yes, he's had some fumbling issues in the past, but I reckon Henderson's sort of teetering a little bit value-wise because probably because of how they used him the back half of last year. It was full steam ahead with Ramondre and not much Travion at all. You'd think that he could go past him, but at the same time, when they've got someone like that in the backfield that's got experience, we sort of see this happen a fair bit where they don't unleash the rookie or the second-year player as much as you'd like. Same thing with Gibbs. I reckon it's probably that Gibbs Montgomery, but in a microwave, not to the same level that Gibbs is, but similar type of feeling that I've got that you would have had with Gibbs over the last couple of years.
It really is. It was so frustrating owning Gibbs, who's that just lightning in a bottle, can take it to the house every play, which Henderson did for a solid period. But like you said, they went back to Stevenson in the crunch time in the playoffs, because ironically, Henderson got drafted with pass protection as one of his strengths. And then for whatever reason, he either wasn't asked to do it or he didn't do it well in his first year. So it's a really interesting one to watch, but just thought it'd be good to get both of your thoughts as the owners here.
Good shout there. Well, let's move now, Timos, to that rookie draft where you found yourself with the 107 pick. So you were looking at Jadarian Price, you were saying?
That was a seamless save, by the way, boys. That moving about the house was the phone got down to 3% and then it lost audio, but I quickly found a charger.
Jeez, you
Excellent.
are a McMahon, aren't you?
Through the power of editing, no one will know the journey that you went on.
Yeah, it's a good question though, Ben, with Sadiq. So you mentioned you would have taken him. You would have taken Price at the 107 if he was there. If you had the 105 and you had a receiver or Price, would you have gone for the need there? Still would have taken Price. Yep.
Yeah, and
how early? If you had 3 or 4.
Ooh. Yeah, 4 definitely. 3 I would have had the decision between. I think Tyson.
Yep.
So is that a talent decision there on, you think of Price that highly, or is that more of a need for your team?
I didn't really rate after Tyson.
Oh, so Tyson would have been your 103. Very good.
He would have been the 103. And then, I rate Price, and I think he would have been a perfect need for my team. Obviously, for those who follow our league, I had the decision of try to trade up with Steph in the 106 or just hope that he takes someone else. So, I went with the just hope. And, he took him.
And just on Price, did you ever think about talking to Cummo about coming up and jumping in front of the DFF and to try and grab Price a little bit before his pick?
I did, and he said he wanted to take the 4 receivers in a row, and nothing was changing his mind.
Okay, which is consistent with what Camo said about moving up in the first place. Was it was basically take the decision out of my hands. I can just go Mendoza, 3 receivers, and away it goes. That's really interesting.
That is a harder scenario for Tim to jump in when someone's already drafted into that slot to execute on a strategy. But I did want to probably probe on that a little bit more, Moss. You said you've listened to all the pods. There was a little bit of a giveaway as to what Steph was doing when he was on, and he was on just before our rookie draft. He did not, we questioned him on the picks and who he was taking, and he did not mention price once, which is a classic DFF move. He thinks he's moving around the chess pieces, and we're not stupid. So did that cross your mind at all? And did you really think he was taking price?
Confirmed it for me, if I'm honest. And that's when I started thinking, do I throw an offer out for him, or do I just hope and hope and hope that he's changed? And yeah, it was a smoke screen, but yeah, I knew when he was on the pod that was most likely going to happen, and then I was always going to take Sadiq, who I thought was best available after that.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting point, isn't it? Because you're up against it in the fact that you and him have back-to-back picks. You both seemingly want the same player, or you're pretty sure you do. And then you've got Camo, who doesn't want to risk losing one of those receivers. Because if you did go to 5 and took Price, DFF probably takes Lemon right there, being a homer pick. And then Camo is left to risk it on Concepcion if he wants another wide receiver and build that way, or go for Sadiq. So we're in a bit of a bind, really.
Well, again, timelines, like Camo being a rebuilding team, probably just didn't want a running back. He just and look, there's arguments to take best available and sell to contenders as much as you want. That would be the way I'd go about it. But clearly, Camo had his eye on the 3 receivers, and as you said, Hod, that makes it very challenging to be able to move up and down the board if they're basically fixed for the first 5 picks. So, talk to us about Sadiq, Timos. What do you like about him over a Concepcion or I mean, Simpson went pretty early, but over some of the remaining receivers, I suppose.
I like just he's a good athlete. New York need people to catch the ball. They'll probably be behind in a lot of games, so I based him off just the athleticism, really. In terms of Concepcion, who's the other receiver who went to the Browns?
Boston. That was the 112.
Yeah, I actually like Boston a bit more than Concepcion. But yeah, I just went on Sadiq just because he's a good athlete, tight end premium, and I've got a load of receivers. So, yeah.
You can never have too many tight ends, mate, even if you got the great Tyler Warren, which I know our man on the pod is a huge, huge fan of. But no, I like it, mate. I think at that position, you just got to take what you think is best available and keep moving. What about the remainder of your draft here? Because there's a couple of late, especially in the running back market here, that you did address running back, albeit later in the draft. Talk to us about your boy at Minnesota, and then the backup to Genty could be an interesting one as well.
Yeah, well, obviously the Minnesota boy is a scat back, so he's quick. He doesn't really have a lot of competition. Aaron Jones, obviously, he's getting a bit long in the tooth, and Jordan Mason's a different type of back. So hopefully, hopefully he can find a role there. It's a bit of a long shot, him being such a late pick, but I always like to get myself a couple of Vikings boys on the roster. So that was my thought process there.
There's been some rumblings as our resident. I know Manny's a Vikings man too, but we're going to go to you, Timos. But there's been some rumblings about Aaron Jones the last week or two, and that Jordan Mason may be having pole position here to be the RB1 in Minnesota. What are your views on that running back room at the moment?
Yeah, well, I know the coaches like Aaron Jones. He's just getting really old, so I think he's just losing it a bit. Just like his hairline, it's fucking just marching back. So.
Yeah, so that is for anyone who hasn't got YouTube open. It's Demond Claiborne at Minnesota there. And then the other running back that you took in the fourth round, middle of the fourth, and he was at the top of people's lists for pretty much that entire fourth round, and that's Mike Washington, the backup at the Raiders, who pretty much is a plug and play if Genty was to ever go down, because there really is no competition. So was there much thought in that one, or it was pretty much just a smash, too good a value to pass up?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think late fourth there's a lot of options. So yeah, just pick a guy who has a path, essentially. Yes, and hopefully Genty just has some time off during the year and Washington can step up.
I mean, it's a perfect pick in a contender, right? You're going to try and get those handcuffs because that's really the only value that's going to pop in the middle of the fourth going by the odds. And
Well, think of the swing in your division. You've got Keeney, who will have a team where Genty is going to be, a centerpiece, and if he goes down, not only does his team get weaker, your team in the same division gets stronger. So it is twofold.
Yeah, well, we're starting to hold handcuffs of each other. Oh, not that. Oh, I've got two of the probably poorer ends of the handcuffs, but that's fine.
I was going to say, Henderson for Washington's an interesting deal. Gee whiz.
it's a good call, though. That's. I wonder how much strategy of that goes into the draft picks, because if it is playing out that way, it's pretty savvy moves by yourself there, Moss. But let's finish with the draft. I want to get stuck into this team that's going to be, I think, one of the features of this season at the pointy end, which we're all excited to see how it shapes out. It's fair to say last year you faced a very large share of misfortune. This is a very deep and talented roster that we'll get through over this episode. But positive regression, probably on the cards. How optimistic are you about a rebound for the straight cash homies to bring home a title this year?
Yeah, not too confident. Obviously got a couple of my stars coming back from knee injuries in Jaden Daniels and Malik Neighbours. So, yeah, it depends how far those boys take me. Sorry, I'm just being attacked by the dog.
Leo agrees.
Yeah, Leo agrees. So, yeah, obviously in fantasy, I think our league has shown that you don't have to be the best team. Shout out to you, Scoot. You just got to get in and, get kissed on the Medific, as Papa would say.
And it's easy to forget how much of a fantasy breaker Jaden Daniels was in his rookie season, QB5, and to lose that in year two, that's a massive, basically, brand new recruit for your team this year. And as you said, Hod, you look at this team and there's some serious talent. I haven't done the exercise of looking at where all your players would go in a redraft, but my initial reaction would be that you'd have quite a few in the first 2 or 3 rounds, which tells me that you're right in the box seat to contend. But we've talked a little bit about the McCaffrey and Henry deal and just how significant that was. I think the first thing I should mention is you've done 2 trades in 2 years. So I just think you just need to be careful because the DFF might be planning to sue you on copyright infringement. So you just need to be aware of what might be coming. But secondly, was the trade largely not only because of your running back need, but because you need to continue to stay on top of the other 3 teams in your division? As you said, it's a stacked division, and if you don't address it, then you're probably falling behind, and potentially, as ridiculous as this sounds, you could be 3rd or 4th in the division.
Yeah, that's definitely it. And I think I said it to Ben after we pulled the trigger on the trade. I can go back to just doing nothing for about 6 months, which is what I tend to do in fantasy. Do a couple of big trades and then bugger off for a couple of months and then probably tune in a bit too late.
And we spoke briefly about your team last week, Moss, and mainly we spoke about Neighbours, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point. We can go into a bit more detail, but the boys were floating rather optimistically, perhaps, the idea that if he didn't come back at 100% and he was, he started on the PUP list, which is every chance, and he's a bit limited throughout this year, is he the type of player that you would look to move at the right price?
Yeah, I'm not sure where all that talk's come from. I obviously don't follow the fantasy news as much as you boys, but I've been seeing neighbours play kickball, baseball, squash, cricket. So he's given that knee a good workout. So I expect him to be there week one and hit the ground running.
Was he batting or bowling?
Yeah, was he bowling a few Muradul things?
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw him at the World Cup the other morning. He's loving life.
He's fine.
He's flying.
He's fine.
Sir Donald Neighbours.
Yeah, so
if he's playing cricket, you got no worries.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just showing he can do it all. He's a super athlete.
All right, well, Timos, give us a bit of a roster dive for what you've got there. What do you see as your strengths, your weaknesses of the team that you've aligned, and does it match up with our friends at Dynasty Daddy?
Probably strengths, I would say the wide receiver room. It's quite deep. I've got to run about 6 or 7 who are pretty good quality. 6, 7, yeah. Whatever that means.
That comes up every pod, so we just have to do it.
Have to.
Other strengths would be running backs over the age of 31. Two of the best of all time.
You do.
And yeah, probably weakness is running backs under 31.
All right, well,
good summary.
go on. I will chuck up Dynasty Daddy. So
do that for me whilst I just probably gloat about this wide receiver room here, Moss. Looking back, because you're contending, probably started 18 months to 2 years ago. You were really moving up the ranks, and for memory, I'm looking at your bench here. This is how deep the wide receiver room is. It's currently sitting Brian Thomas, DK Metcalf, and Christian Watson. I reckon they were your 3 starters only 24 months ago, and now they're sitting firmly on the bench behind Puka, Neighbours, and Zay Flowers coming off a wide receiver 1 season. So it's a bit of a flex. I often think we play super flex and tight end premium, but I think wide receivers are the most important position, or at least a most important building block to build your fantasy lineups. I'm just dragging this out until Timos returns to have any comment on this wide receiver room. But you must be pretty pumped about it going into this season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I tried to do. I tried to build a young, deep wide receiver room. Even the guys like Brian Thomas, I'm still pretty high on, even though he had a down year.
Michael Wilson, wide receiver 13 last year, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I've been high on him for a while. I nearly dropped him about 4 times at the start of last year. But, lucky I kept him because he's, definitely turned it on. And, he outperformed Papa's boy Harrison, which I expect him to do again this year. So...
Well, now Camo's boy. But before you rattle off any more, let's narrow the focus. Which player on your roster, any position, are you irrationally high on compared to consensus?
Oh, probably Shador Sanders.
Ooh,
love that nomination.
Shador.
I reckon he could win the quarterback competition down in Cleveland, or he's just one good massage away from winning it during the year.
So this is unscripted, ladies and gentlemen. We do prep the guests as to what we could ask, but this is a left field one, and one I'm very interested in, obviously with the next year's draft, because every mock draft you see has Cleveland taking one of the plethora of quarterbacks very high in the draft. So this is quite a big claim. Are you saying that Cleveland, by the year end next year, will be happy with Shador as their starting quarterback, and then even if they are picking at the top end of the draft, they could end up then, if they've got their quarterback, with a Jeremiah Smith or a Cam Coleman, who are 2 elite wide receiver prospects?
Well, that's what I would hope for. Shador's he thinks he's a good winner. He does win a lot of games wherever he's been. So last year, I think he got a few victories in a pretty bad Cleveland team. So if they can build off that, he's got a couple of young weapons. You never know. So shoot
Big
the
take.
stars, as they say, Hod. Hopefully, yeah, he gets in and starts winning games and it make Cleveland. If they get a quarterback that wins games for them, they're probably not going to kick him out. So that's what I'm hoping
Absolutely.
for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably, can they win enough games for them to not be in the top 10 of the draft and not have to go there or have to go to a different area? I'm not as tuned into how deep this QB class is in the top 10, Hod, but that would probably be the best scenario for someone like Sanders. But are you sitting here right now saying that you wouldn't trade him for a late second round pick, Tim?
Would depend. I might add a second rounder. Oh, I'd probably be in the stage where I'd hold him for a bit of the season just to see how it goes. And yeah, the second round is not going to do too much for me this year, so yeah, I'd rather keep him and then trade him away for a Henderson if you want, Keeney.
I'm good, mate.
We'll see. We'll see if we can grow something for this season because, yeah, that's what I'm about this year.
I'm telling you, the DFF is listening to this, and I think you two have been having some private conversations off to the side. But the one thing I notice about, especially when we look into Dynasty Daddy, which is a great resource that is free, ladies and gents, that gives you a breakdown not only of where they rank for each position, but also their age. And what we see is how young you are, receiver and tight end. So your pass catchers are proper young. It's probably something I wasn't...
Whole team, really.
It probably wasn't something I was totally across with your team. I thought it was maybe just because you added McCaffrey and Henry, I thought your whole team was old, but it's certainly not the case. With that said, is there someone within your team that you're a little bit concerned about them losing significant value at the end of this year?
Getting a severe echo, so it's hard to say, hard to hear what you're saying. But in terms of people falling off a cliff, I think you said it's obviously the two old boys that I've just brought in. But I've brought them in hoping they can do damage straight away. If not, I've got a lot of flexibility that I can trade around. As you said, I've got some good star receivers. I can get rid of a quarterback or downgrade a quarterback. So that was sort of my plan with those two old boys, bringing them in.
Yeah, well, and you touched on the quarterbacks there, and that is what Dynasty Daddy has your biggest strength to be. Not your most valuable collective position, but for less positions, it's got you as the best QB room in the whole league. So Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Jordan Love will sit on the bench. That's a pretty good position to be in. Then you throw in your the person that you're high on there in Shador Sanders. And Marcus Mariota as a little backup if there is an injury. He's shown that he can come in and play snaps there. So it's a pretty good position to be in a fairly scarce position for some teams. They are playing it razor thin, and we've got a few contenders coming up who are playing that position razor thin. I suppose, your Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry take. The fact that you've got those two in your running back room and the average age is 25.7 is incredible.
It's a really, really interesting one that you... I reckon you can have the blinkers on. When you make a trade like Henry and McCaffrey in, it's very much ceiling play, looking at the title, and then let's see what happens. But it sounds like you're pretty rounded in your approach that you can potentially bail out of it. That's a really interesting play on that trade. Ben, being on the other side of that, how are you viewing them? How risky do you think having held them? And then was that part of the deal that you wanted to offload them because you see a massive risk there, or the fall off the cliff, like Tim mentioned, possibly could happen?
Yeah, I think that Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry are interesting players in the sense that there's a lot of talk about CMC's had the most touches of anyone last season, and players can't really replicate that. Derrick Henry at his age can't replicate what he's doing, and that this age cliff drop-off is just about to happen. However, I got Derrick Henry back in 2021, and the talk back then was he's the most sellable asset in Dynasty. And, I felt at the time that, and I mentioned this last week, that I was getting him on the cheap for that reason. And he went on to serve me pretty well. Didn't win a title, but put me right at the pointy end. I feel like CMC and Derrick Henry are just two out-of-the-box players. They can absolutely... I wouldn't be surprised if when you view them, they will go down as outliers. Now, Christian McCaffrey, the biggest risk with him is he has had injury-riddled seasons that has wiped him out for a whole year. So I know that it's a high upside play, and Timos, you weren't alone when you were inquiring about him. It's high risk, high reward. If it does pan out, you're going to be absolutely laughing come the end of the season because we all know what he can be. But if he does have an injury, it's a pretty frustrating thing. And I think just about all of us in either redraft or Dynasty have owned him and know the frustration or the ecstasy that comes with it.
Yeah. He's pretty fun when it's firing on all cylinders, I'll tell you that much. But I think we've spoken a bit about this trade, and rightfully so, but I think we also have to acknowledge that we've got an auction draft in, I don't even know, is the date been set, boys? I think it has. It was a 1 week back and forth there for the date. But there's one player in your running back room, Timos, that will go for a lot of cash, and that is Amarian Hampton, who has a chance to finish as the running back 1 overall. In my view, I think he's in the mix with 3 or 4 other running backs. So how do you feel about him going forward and what his dynasty outlook looks like?
Yeah, well, he's definitely the shining star from a dynasty output for my running back room. I like Mike McDaniel going there. I reckon he will bring a lot to the offense, and obviously getting the 2 tackles back there. He could be anything this year, and hopefully puts a good 3-4 year stint for me, and then I'll shuffle some other names in there next year when the old boys sort of hopefully have already won me a trophy and they can put them into start or something.
Totally agree. I think I was pretty clear on last week with the Chargers and their outlook this year. What about Bo Nix, Moss? I reckon this is one of the more fascinating quarterbacks in fantasy football. He is currently in redraft, sitting around QB 13, yet has finished QB 7 twice. He has outperformed Caleb and Drake May and Jaden Daniels. So this is a guy that is continually underrated, and he's still in a good offense. Nothing has changed there. They've just got Jalen Waddle. How high do you reckon the ceiling is for him as part of what is already the number 1 quarterback room in the Empire Dynasty League?
Yeah, well, he's a little quiet achiever, really. When I first drafted him, I was excited that Sean Payton had another guy, hopefully similar to Breeze, that you could just keep for 10 years in Dynasty, and he just pops out QB1 performances. So, so far he's done pretty well. I think I got him with pick 13.
201.
So, 201.
Hasn't this league picked some quarterbacks in the second round? Bo Nix, Jackson Dart was the 205 or 206 just recently. There's some value there, but totally agree to Timos. I think he is just going about his business very, very nicely at the moment. How about we pivot to trading? Because I reckon Tim's been the topic of a lot of people's worst trading partner. So pretty interested to hear your thoughts around this topic. But you mentioned it before, or one of the boys did, that you don't trade often, but when you do, they are large deals, often involving multiple players and assets, and then you go into hibernation, your words. Talk us through your view on trading, and then how do you approach others in the league when you do make your trades?
So I think the league itself can overcomplicate things. Like, people get a bit shitty if you say no to a trade, or sorry, I'm working, I can't get back to you right now, is a big one.
Name him.
And everyone,
Specific.
all
That's very
you
specific.
fuckers who don't work during the day. Yeah, so yeah, I don't really have too much thoughts on trading. If you want to make a trade, make it. If someone says no, you don't have to blacklist them or cry about it or call Papa up and say, "Oh, Tim didn't trade with me." So you can just it's fantasy at the end of the day. It's if someone doesn't like trading with you, don't trade with them.
Do you
Very interested to hear who this person is.
do you run a calculator setup to start, or had you just eyeball it and go, that looks about right?
You always go off the gut feel originally, and then I have about 15 different websites that I use trade calculators for.
Nice.
So give them a run.
And
then,
Fannin for quorum, just a quick snapshot opinion.
Litmus test.
That
And the
blew up 14 of the calculators, so I'm down to one.
No batteries.
How did you feel as Jake's biggest rival? It's either you or Matt. He's McMahonist. So, how did you feel when you see that sort of trade go through with a fellow contender who's already got 2 rings? What was your gut reaction?
Yeah, as I said, like you normally go off the gut or the sniff test, and it probably didn't pass that one. It looked a bit weird, but then you scroll down, you go, oh, it came from Jim. You go, oh, that sounds about right. Move on.
But what about Jake? Focus on the Jake side. Do you expect more from him, or that's just who he is?
Oh, he's got a play he doesn't like, so he didn't really throw up a lot of assets. But yeah, if that's what he does, that's what he does. Yeah.
Hold on, you said you listened to all the pods. He loved Coram. That's what he said.
I don't
Didn't want to
listen when
part with
Jake
him.
talks. I sort of phase out a little bit just because there's a bit too much me. But yeah, what did he say to you, Kenny? He didn't really like Fannin, so he just threw an ordinary offer out there.
Yeah, he's
Whatever.
he's lower on Fannin than consensus, and that's why he went after him.
Yeah. When
please.
Jake talks, it's like he gives an answer for something, and then the justification that doesn't go together when he speaks.
Not normally. Not
Oh,
normally.
this is
Big
a
fan-
juicy rivalry, ladies and gentlemen.
Big Bears fan.
For what it's worth, I actually did. I think I said it to you boys last week or the week before. I did appreciate the defence from the legal team just on Fannin. I think we all gravitate towards him and his stardom rising. But there is a world, not in Tim's world, because Shador's the next bloody Mahomes. So that should equal a good season for Fannin. But there is a world where he doesn't produce like he did, and Coram could take the role, and then we'll be laughing at all ourselves for bashing Jim.
And I'm sure that's the exact
but-
line that was used.
Good on Jake for getting it done. Like
I agree.
everyone's throwing shit trades out there. Some of them you guys complain about on the pod. Some of them you get away, like the Philip Lindsay trade with Jim. So Jim's just like the village bicycle. Everyone's had a ride.
That's well documented. Like
well.
Manny said, you got to get in first. So
Yeah, very well documented.
kudos.
Yeah, my moral compass has been adjusted since year 1. We're in year 6 now. Anyway, let's move on. So we've spoken about your roster. It's pretty bloody good, mate. If you could complement it with someone else, another player from another roster, who would you
free.
first target?
For a trade or just a luxury take?
Steal it.
Oh, probably go Justin Jefferson.
Of course.
Just for a bit of a homer pick, and then I would trade some wide receivers around and get another running back.
Oh,
But
Okay.
yeah,
gone for
just
2.
like to get my boy.
He's interestingly felt like he's attainable from Manny's commentary around Justin Jefferson. I was very interested that he was a little bit down on him, and Hod, you rightfully said, not for me. I would throw a little DM his way, mate, just to see what happens there. We're all about getting trades done off the back of this pod, so I would ask the
You
question.
over the last year or so. He says, "Oh yeah, let me get back to you tomorrow." He's like, "Nah, can't get rid of it." He's a fellow Viking as well, so he just wants to keep him along with all the quarterbacks, I think, on his team.
Just felt like this year he's more willing to. He said all that on the pod, but then also said he's had a couple of down years in a row, and he's not. I don't think he's as sure on him at the moment. So it might be a time to strike.
I'm going to throw a scenario out there for you, Timos.
Ooh.
If this trade was just put to you tomorrow after the pod airs, Justin Jefferson straight up for Amari and Hampton, are you doing it?
Ooh.
Ooh. No.
Okay.
What about
Just because then I'd be left with the two old ducks, and that could be.
But to your point,
Very
you can
bad.
trade. So you've got great depth at wide receiver. You could fix that with some of your wide receiver depth. I don't know. If you had Puka, Malik,
And JJ.
Justin Jefferson in
Holy
their
moly.
powers, that is a scary lineup. But anyways,
It'd be nice.
Hod, your one.
what about Justin Jefferson for Malik Neighbours?
Ooh, now we're talking odd.
Yeah, true.
Straight swap.
The kickball star.
Makes sense for both rosters, right?
It would make sense for both rosters.
Yeah, Malik's going to have a middling year, so
Yeah,
that's perfect for
perfect.
Manny.
Yeah, I'd do that for Manny. Manny, inquire with him.
There you go. There's some
Shit,
juices flowing.
alright.
Like it.
Very nice. I
There we
like
go.
that one. All right, well, what's the best trade? Speaking of trades, what's the best one you've ever made in this league?
Oh, I tried to have a look at my trades the other day, but I could only go back to the last couple. But I think the one that stands out to me was trading the defensive back over to Keeney, which gave me a Marion Hampton.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. No
Yeah, I
surprise,
don't think
Keely,
it's
that
a
your
landslide.
worst is Timos's best.
Yeah, I don't think it's a landslide win to me, but it gives me Hampton a really good piece, and it got me, it enabled me to split Brian Thomas and I can't even remember his name anymore.
He's dead to you.
Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter. There you go, Hunter. So
That's
yeah,
Hunter.
it let me split those two. So yeah, that's one of my better trades, I think.
It
Hopefully.
wasn't a player for player deal, mate. You're acting like I just traded Hunter for Hampton. Come on, mate.
Straight
There's a
swap.
few picks.
There's a
I
couple of
couldn't
things.
remember the rest of it.
Was
What
there?
about, hey, can I ask, what about this one? Actually, this is a pretty good deal between you two. Tucker Craft, Kyler Murray for Puka Nakua and a first. That one's a spicy one that happened a couple of years ago. I think just before Matty Mac's wedding, if I am not mistaken. Is that right?
I don't remember the timing of it.
Well,
but
we've had a
it
few
is-
Bishop Sankeys.
We
It
did.
is certainly a juicy one. I think it's fair to say that would be one of Moss's best ones.
Well, what about with hindsight, mate? What's been the worst trade that you've completed that you just shake your head when you look back to now?
I think I traded a second round pick for Kellen Mond.
Okay.
Who's
yeah,
that?
actually, that does ring a bell. The Vikings QB. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think Shador offered me a second round pick for Hooker, who was the Detroit running back, and I told him no.
Quarterback.
I just doubled down on a mistake.
Hendon.
Hendon Hooker
Hendon,
was
that's the one,
quarterback,
Hendon.
yeah. We'll see if that features in Scoot's best trade ever.
Kellen Mond, what a name. Forgot all about him.
Yep, that was a nice homer pick.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
very nice.
Absolutely. And you spoke a little bit about trading, but who, if you had to pick one league member that's very challenging to trade with, who would it be, mate? Call him out.
I think Jake is the only guy I haven't traded with. I
Ooh.
There is a rivalry there, isn't there?
don't think there's a rivalry.
He doesn't rate you.
No, that's probably why there's no rivalry. I haven't been too. I was okay year one, but I've been pretty shit since.
I think you're like the 4th or 5th ranked team overall.
Yeah, that's
Really?
shit in my books, Benny.
In fairness, he
Yeah,
doesn't rate
first
anyone.
ones.
He said if there was 11 other blokes, he'd finish on top. So that's his mindset. What
But
about
yeah,
the best? Who's the best player to trade with? Who's easy?
I'm going to say not the best person to trade with, but the person I've had a lot of near misses with, and that's the DFF.
Ooh,
Near misses.
wow.
Near misses.
Talk us through
You-
this.
you throw some trades out to him. Obviously not his idea, so he doesn't take it. But I offered multiple first-round picks and some for Zach Wilson 2 years in a row. And he said no, so that saved him a dynasty. Who else have I tried to get? And he said no. I think Jordan Love for JJ McCarthy at the start of last year.
Wow.
He wanted a first-round pick on top.
So Sam Darnold hit, but those two are pretty big misses.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not always the ones you get, but it's the ones you miss in Dynasty.
Well, if only the recipe for success was the other way around, the DFF might be wearing a couple of chips right now.
Sure would.
Instead of holding on to those Bishop Sankeys. We love this time, Timos. We love to get your perception of the league, and now that we're in the contender zone, it just means a little bit more, your answers here. So who is the biggest pretender in the EDL for this coming season?
I would probably say Scooter, just because he jumped up, got some success, and his team's pretty shit. Like, if you go look at his wide receivers, I don't know how he won a chip last year, but good on him. But, yeah, they're pretty bad. So if Drake May gets injured or Gibbs goes down, he's struggling.
It's a great answer, boys. His team shit.
Yep.
The reigning champ.
It's as simple as that.
Shit.
I cannot wait for Scoots, and I sadly won't be here, but I cannot wait to hear the episode with the reigning champ, because I feel like he has copped an awful lot of shade and he is going to be on a rampage to dish out.
He might just be an AI version of himself on the pod, though. He might not actually rock up. He might have his bot
executioner just sitting there talking to us. All right, well then, Timos, if that's the big pretender, who's one bad season away from the full-blown emotional rebuild?
The easy decisions, Papa, but everyone's had a go at that. So I'm gonna say the DFF.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So the DFF has been building. We all know this. I think he's been shit for a while, but this year he actually thinks he's good.
He's frisky.
Yeah. So when he falls very short, he might not win the division when the three other teams in his division are trying to lose. And when that happens, he could just go, fuck, this is not for me, boys. And he could be the first league member out.
Wow.
This is
You
juicy.
see him walking, like not even rebuilding. He's just quitting.
See you later.
He's taking his toilets and he's going home.
That's it.
That might be the only chance that roster has at a chip if he relinquished the reins. That is a phenomenal answer, because I'm not sure there's any team that he's ever managed, but let's just cast our eye to the teams that he supports, and when they're good, how stressed he gets. And this is the first year that he might actually, like Tim said, be really in contention. The stakes are higher, and then we start to see the cracks in that emotional wall that he has of delirium. That is a great answer. I really like that. Is that the first one? I think the DFF
Might be.
Surely not. First prediction of a walk as well.
Yeah,
a real quit. Is that in his nature to quit when it
Yeah,
gets
he
really
loves
difficult?
walking. He loves walking. He does 45 minutes on the incline every day. Same workout for the last 8 years.
Great pins though.
What level?
Quality set of pins.
What level on the incline is it? What's it set at? Do you know?
Oh, it's steep.
It's very steep. He does well, but just change it up. Go up and down a hill or something. Just does the same thing every day.
It's as steep as his general expert consensus of his own players.
Is it not fitting that that's his take on Dynasty? He's always climbing. He's just constantly on the climb. Never will get to the top, though.
Just on a treadmill because he keeps going. Yeah. Mate, you are a McMahon, so you love to rise, particularly before 9 a.m. from memory. But you are an early riser. So how do you approach your lunch order, and at what time are you? What were you wondering where I was going with that?
You could have flipped him around.
Nah. How do you approach your lunch order? That's what I'm interested in. Do you have it at traditional lunch times? He's lost it. Or because you're up so early, do you wait? And what's your order?
I actually have lunch like a driving instructor, 10 and 2.
Yeah,
So
good.
I have my first one at 10, the second one at 2.
Thought so. And what are we running?
I am having the mint beef Mexican bowl with a bit of sweet pot.
Love that. Is that
sriracha?
who doesn't love a sweet pea, mate?
Mm.
Is that it?
Monday, eh?
Are you doing that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you doing that at 10 and 2? Or is it?
Yeah. Double down.
Oh, okay. That's healthy. I like it. And what about... Oh, sorry, I just threw you off guard there. But what about you seem like a pretty relaxed customer. How does your Monday morning NFL sessions go? Or are you just too busy, you can't watch it?
Start of the season is good for me because you can watch the first whole game. So I like the 3 o'clock start. So definitely get up for that. And I just prioritize the Vikings. So if the Vikings are on first, I'll watch that and then just look at a couple of scores on the phone. But yeah, I just dedicate it to the Vikings. And fantasy take the back seat.
No red zone?
No red zone and until the Vikings game finishes, or if we play Friday night football, I'll get up and watch it red zone at 3. But quite relaxed in my household.
And are you acutely aware of your opposition and what players you're up against?
I'm going to say no.
Nice.
I would have guessed that.
Just wait till the later games and then see if you're in with a chance. Probably put more time into the Vikings in our punting league than I do the Dynasty league.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
And the most important question is, when you open up Sleeper, which league are you checking the score on first, the Dynasty or Redraft?
For this pod, let's say the Dynasty.
Good answer.
An honest one would be good, but
Yeah.
that works.
Oh, fuck it. The other one then. No, it depends. I've been down the bottom of the league in Dynasty last couple of years, so yeah, you don't really have to check it at all.
Yeah.
It's a good answer. And in the spirit of this podcast, we premise every question with the fact you're an early riser. So if your franchise had a headline at the end of the season, what would it read?
Hopefully fucking winner, mate.
Which news?
That on the banner.
Which news organisation's running that headline?
Just straight to business. Winner.
I reckon.
Scoot's going to have a field day.
Oh, that had a lot of Pauline Hanson about it. Fucking winner.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's really good. But what about a bold prediction for your team this year, mate? We're coming to the end of the pod. I want something spicy about your team.
Like the sriracha.
Like the sriracha. Let's go. Shador wins MVP.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's as bold as it can come. Is that too spicy?
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
That's pretty spicy.
Holy shit.
Oh, goodness.
Well, Shador, let's change that. Let's put some sour cream on that just to
Soften
relax
it.
the thigh. Yeah, and then we'll go Shador top 15.
Oh, like that one. That's good.
Bold. That is nice and bold. All right, mate, this is the moment in the pod. You've got to sell the listeners why, if they're going to come along for the ride in the League Down Under podcast and follow our Empire Dynasty League, why are they jumping on the train of the Straight Cash Homies?
As I said, we're going to win. It's pretty simple. That's it. We're just going to moon people and win. That's all I've got for you.
Hey, John Mulaney did. He brought it back.
Yeah,
No AI there.
circle. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess you didn't run that one through AI like a few other league members.
No,
Is
he
that
did.
fair to say? You have
mate.
to speak here. I mean, not everyone
mate.
might be watching this on YouTube, but Nod doesn't cut it.
Nod on a podcast.
Just not.
Nod and win.
Just Nod.
That might be the title there. Nod, win, and moon.
I reckon you've won. You've already won a handful of people over straight off on that side. Man, a few words. That's all people want sometimes is they don't want to hear the nonsense, the AI, absolute garbage that's out there, and just straight to the point. So love it.
Very good.
Man, a few words, but he was very good tonight, boys.
Yeah.
Very impressed with the intellect and the management of this franchise, which is in a very, very good position to succeed. I am very much looking forward to how this season plays out between Timos and the rest of the contenders.
Thank you for jumping on tonight, Timos. We look forward to following your team's progress, and I look forward to following how the two boys that I sent to your roster get on this year, because I hope it does pan out for you. There's nothing worse than risking it for aging players and then it doesn't pan out. So I'll be rooting for those two to get up. So thanks for coming on tonight. And that's all for another episode of the League Down Under. Whether you're rebuilding, contending, or convincing yourself that next year's your year, thanks for tuning in. Hit us up on Instagram for all the league banter, and subscribe on YouTube channel so you never miss an episode or bonus content. We'll catch you next time, and remember, flags fly forever, but screenshots of terrible trades do also. Peace out.